The individual who has not transcended his own selfishness is a very poor candidate for reforming the world. It is necessary for each person to recognize that he must make a personal contribution to the integrities of things. He must become aware of truth, of the love of truth, of the love of God as truth, deity recognized in the manifested form of the infinite parent, also always solicitous for the good of its children. We must think of the faiths of men as being the gateways to conduct. We must think also of all the dreams and hopes of the ages and realize that they cannot be fulfilled until the individual loves truth better than he loves himself. There is no way of solving the problem unless we become aware of a strange and wonderful beauty, as Boethius saw it in his prison cell. A radiant being. We can call it peace. We can call it wisdom. We can call it love. We can call it whatever we want to call it. But it is a radiant power that blesses dedication, that rewards definite effort to perfect and to fulfill. It is something that can take over the life of the individual when he is no longer willing to dedicate that life to the fulfillment of his private ambitions. So with all these points, there is this wonderful opportunity that comes, which Boethius noted, and which is the love of truth. Now, love is a very careful word. Love to the average individual is a very physical word. Life and love to the theologian is an emotional experience. Life and love to the philosopher is an intellectual experience. But beyond this is the simple, direct fact of the love of truth. A love which does not require rationalization, does not require scientific proof, does not require anything but the evident fact that if we love peace, we will serve it. And if we serve peace, we will have peace. That if we serve and love truth, we will dedicate ourselves to truth. We will correct the curriculums of our schools. We will add knowledge to the courses necessary to instruct the young. And we will put ideals and principles ahead of profit and private enterprise. These things are the transformation of the love of truth as we know it today to the love of truth as it must be, a dedication to the fulfillment of the works of truth. Now, these works of truth are not simply strange things floating around in space somewhere, because truth, as Boethius found out, is a kind of being. It is something that lives but never dies. It is born but never ceases. In other words, it is almost actually another name for the human soul. But whatever we call it, it is the victory, the inevitable victory of good over evil. It is the complete victory of faith over fear. It is the complete victory of virtue over vice. And it is achieved because it is potentially possible to the individual. And each human being is born with the potential of the perfection of truth within himself. There is nothing that can prevent the individual from attaining truth except his own reluctance to improve his ways. Now, it's possible for him to realize that some of the truths that he must ultimately know are now beyond him. He's not going to be able to be perfect at the moment. He is not going to be able to be perfect as his Father in heaven is perfect. But he's going to be able to move forward step by step in a dedicated search for reality. The moment he starts these steps, the moment he begins to make an effort to direct and vitalize his own integrity, the journey towards reality begins. And in that moment, the light shining being of truth takes his hand and will lead him to eternity. And nothing can interrupt it. Nothing can prevent it. Nothing can have victory over the inevitable victory of reality over illusion. We have lived for a long time in illusion, and some of this illusion we call learned knowledge. We think of science as very wise. We think that science is solving everything. We think that Einstein was incredible when he found the formula for the atomic fission. These are not the truths we need. These are not truths at all. They are struggling with the misuse of universal potentials. The atom, the cell, all these things are each of them a unit. Each is a truth in itself, and it must be treated as one. It must be recognized, and if we wish to advance things, we must work together to make these various parts work together well in us. If we can make the cells of our own body cooperate, we have help. If we can make the various forms of knowledge to cooperate, we will have peace in the world. These things are part of our destiny. These things were well known to Plato and Pythagoras. They were well known to the foreign and eastern nations. And everyone has realized that it is impossible to solve our present problem unless the individual himself moves from a theoretical standpoint and ceases simply about talking about how things should be done to the dynamic experience of personal growth. And this personal growth, he can start where he is. He doesn't have to worry about anything. What is his problem at the moment? Well, maybe it's a need of a job, or perhaps it is domestic difficulty. Perhaps it is a wayward child. We do not know what that is, but if whatever it is, if at this time he has not found a footing in a pattern for his own permanent growth, that problem which he faces today must become that footing, or one of its equivalent. It must be something done by the individual himself to prove a sincere dedication to advancing the cause of common good. Once he makes one statement, the seed is planted. And once the seed is planted, it will never die. It leads, one good deed leads to others. One bit of wisdom leads to greater wisdom. One concept of the divine love of the God for man is fulfilled in the divine love of man for God. These things are all part of a wonderful mystery, truth in a mystery, love and wisdom in a mystery. All these things we have to face as coming to us in the course of years. So we can wait in our own way for the radiant woman who comes to the prison cell and says, you have served God all your life. You have been a good person, and you are not going to be deserted in your gray hairs. The good you have done to others comes back as a radiant being to lead you to the peace and security that you desire. Under those conditions, things will get done in a reasonable length of time. Thank you.